We have time for a few questions if there's anyone in the audience that'd like to make their way to the microphone. Kathleen, do we have anything online? Okay. So my question is about the hybrid meeting. So this meeting follows a very similar format to what you described, and it sounds like the thing that I took away from your talk was that you can do this with a much lower budget. You brought up the idea that you guys are going to do some testing this year beforehand. Can you elaborate on that as to what led you to do that, and what specifically is the process that you want to test out beforehand, so if someone else is trying to do that, that they don't fall into the same trap?
Yes. Excuse me. We, specifically the difficulty was going back and forth between the online presenters and then projecting the in-person presenters, and that was mostly for our online audience. Our in-person audience could see both, but we rapidly figured out that we were not doing a good enough job for the virtual audience. And so our biggest difficulty was switching back and forth between those, and it just had to do with the AV equipment that was connected to all of that. So it's a little difficult to explain because our AV technician was taking care of it. But certainly the night before, we planned to have both an in-person and a virtual person try to present back and forth to really smooth out that transition. We felt that although the online audience didn't get as much, we certainly did our in-person audience a disservice by taking up time that we worked on technology. So that's going to be the biggest change that we'll do.
Great. Hey.
Yeah, thank you all for the presentations. And I don't have a question, but it's a shameless plug based on Giuseppe's presentation as the vice chair of the IRC. For our international chapters or people in the chapters that are watching, the Ponce Fund is back now in place. We took a hiatus during the pandemic because people wanted to be in-person meetings. But it's a shameless plug for everybody to pull their chapters, international chapters, to apply for the Ponce Funds. A lot of good things come out of these. So, and share it with your friends who are international as well.
Great. From an online participant.
So this is a question for the Kansas chapter. Given the increased interest and participation in the hybrid meeting, do you foresee using this format permanently going forward? And another question is, how much industry support did the Kansas chapter have prior to going hybrid? How has that changed with the move to hybrid?
So we are planning to continue the hybrid approach for now. I don't know what COVID's going to be like, but it doesn't seem to be gone. And we continue this circular pattern of cases. And so for the time being, yes, we are going to continue to do a hybrid approach, especially as you looked to our Kansas chapter meeting, and even this meeting, more than 50% of our participants are online. So that may be part of what we do from now on to continue to increase our numbers and get the word out to as many people as possible. In terms of industry support, we typically do have some representatives at our conference, and we did find that the hybrid approach did decrease that. I think that they know that the in-person participation will be less, and so there may be less incentive for them to come and be present, and so that is one of the difficulties as well.
I did want to make a comment about the hybrid and industry partners. Obviously, most of our chapters use the individual chapter, annual chapter meetings as part of the revenue for the chapter. That's where we get some of our dues, as well as getting just people to also contribute to the program. And usually we partner with industry to help to support the programs that we put out. When you don't have an in-person meeting, then there is not a whole lot of interest in having industry partner with it. The first year we did have some partners that were willing to continue to support us. The following year it did become a little bit more challenging. So it does require that you as members in your individual chapter probably have some relationships with industry, and I think it becomes important to help your chapter be able to be successful and remain solvent. Especially, I think, going forward, there probably is going to need to be some balance associated with both industry to be able to maintain, because obviously, even though we have a lot of interest, we want to get together, but, we still need to be able to find some revenue to be able to put the programs on that we are hoping to provide.
Last question, Dr. Parama.
So congratulations on your successful stories. It seems to me as if organizing a meeting nowadays is even more difficult because people expect more than what they used to. Nowadays, all of us are here because we love the in-person meetings. But on the other hand, a lot of people want to see this meeting in their pajamas, and they expect it to be like Netflix, that you record it, right? And then you can watch the meeting whenever you want. So I think that in the long run, COVID has really caused a lot of problems when organizing meetings. What do you think about this?
I would agree with that. I certainly think that we looked at that option of recording the meetings, storing those recordings so that you could look at it at a later time and absolutely watch it in your pajamas after kids have gone to bed. For our chapter, it was cost prohibitive, but it goes both ways. I think it increases the demand from our participants, but it also increases the audience that we can reach. So.
Right. And just to add to that, I also participate in, obviously, like many of you, other societies, and we have to reset our goals for the product that we're putting out to the public or membership, as well as change our perspective in terms of what is the product that we are planning to put out and whether or not this is going to be during just the time period of the meeting or whether or not this really is an extended opportunity. Because really what you're trying to do is educate your members in terms of whatever topics you're wanting to put out. So for example, for a Society of Critical Care Medicine, which I am one of the program chairs, we will be putting that topic out there for 12 months and for our members to be able to capture CME opportunity for during that time period. And that way we're putting out what our members are wanting to basically, as you say, have the Netflix of medicine opportunity.
Great. Lindsay, Jose, appreciate you being here today and sharing the success stories. Your chapters are very active, and it's very apparent that you guys are working through this process and continuing to provide that education. And I definitely applaud that. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you.